Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Tiffany Cohn and I'm the Associate Dean of the Core Program at AUW. On behalf of the AUW community, it is my honour to welcome everyone here today to this online virtual graduation for the class of 2021, the Adventurines. These are extraordinary times requiring extraordinary efforts by us all, including the special class of graduates who have had to forego an in-person graduation this year. I am honoured to invite a number of esteemed speakers to share their words and thoughts with us today. Our Honourable Chancellor, Mrs. Cherie Blair, will begin, followed by the Chairman of the Board, Dr. Deepu Moni. Then we will hear from our Honourable Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nirmala Rao, and our Founder and CEO, Mr. Kamal Ahmed. After a performance by the AUW Choir, we will hear from Henrietta Four, UNICEF Executive Director, followed by Dr. Rubana Haq, President of the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association. After the conferment of undergraduate degrees, we will close with a commencement speech by the former President of the Student Government, Umair Humaira, and a valedictory speech by Sadiqa Begum, a former RMG worker. A number of video presentations will be interspersed throughout, highlighting achievements of students from the Pathways for Promise program and the graduating class. Once more, congratulations to the class of 2021 for all you have achieved and all you have overcome. I hope you enjoy this online event. I now invite our first speaker, the Honourable Chancellor, Mrs. Cherie Blair, to deliver her address.
Congratulations, class of 2020, on your graduation from the Asian University for Women. It's been a most challenging year. A global pandemic, civil unrest, and climate disasters all around the world have threatened the health, safety, and economic livelihood of billions of people. The rule of law is increasingly ignored, nationalism is on the rise, and social inequalities have been brought to the fore. Now is a time that desperately calls for leadership, courage, and ingenuity. If anyone is up to the challenge, it is the AUW class of 2020. It's the former garment factory workers who found a way to leave their small towns and make a living for themselves in unfamiliar cities. It's the Rohingya women who had the bravery to pursue an education despite being strictly forbidden from doing so. It is the budding entrepreneurs, human rights activists, filmmakers, academics, politicians, and community organisers that sit here before me, ready to take on the world. As you continue on to careers, marriage, and whatever else comes next, I urge you above all to lead with a sense of empathy. Try to understand where the other parties are coming from. Listen well before offering solutions. Give others the benefit of the doubt. And perhaps as important, extend this sense of kindness and compassion to yourself. For if there is one thing that underpins the various calamities that have plagued 2020, it is a lack of regard for the welfare of others. Whether through callousness about the impact of one's actions on community transmission of COVID, ignorance about the environmental effects of one's carbon emissions, or apathy about racial and gender discrimination. At AUW, you have learned how to live with others who are very different from you. Your classmates come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different religions, different castes, and different countries. They may even belong to groups that you previously held prejudices against before coming to the AUW. By living and learning together, you have moved past any preconceptions about your peers and formed lasting friendships. So too can you begin to mend some of the fences that divide the world now. Change isn't always easy, but it can be long-lasting. When I was a girl growing up in the United Kingdom, discrimination on the basis of sex, disability and race was allowed. The last 50 years brought a whirlwind of human rights legislation. In 1965, UK adopted the Race Relations Act and adopted the UN's International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. In 1975, the Sex Discrimination Act was passed, and in 1979, the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women was adopted. 1995 brought the UK the Disability Discrimination Act. The world that my children have grown up in is more equitable than the world I grew up in. And I hope that the world of my grandchildren will be even more equitable. Class of 2020, you are the next generation of change makers. You will help push through legislation that will expand human rights, reduce poverty, and increase opportunities for all people. Your companies will fuel the growth of your country's economies, and your charities will help the less fortunate. Each problem in society that needs fixing is an opportunity for you to put to use the critical thinking skills that you have gained over your time at the AUW. As you watch me from your screen, you may feel disappointed that you were unable to complete your time at AUW on campus. I'm sure your professors feel the same, and I certainly wish I could be there in person to hand you your diplomas. However, the fact that you are currently out in the world is an important reminder about the purpose of an AUW education. To help you to become the best versions of yourselves, so that you can positively impact your own communities. When you leave these ivory towers, you will break the glass ceiling for all women. Whether it's your younger sister or the local midwife, when you complete this ceremony and walk into town, you'll show the woman in your community that not only is it possible for women to achieve higher education, but that women are worth investing in. You may not even know how far the ripple effect of your achievement extends. I'd like to finish with a quote from one of my role models, the wonderful Eleanor Roosevelt, who drafted the landmark Universal Declaration of Human Rights. She writes in her book, "You learn by living." She says this: "You gain strength, courage and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Class of 2020, I believe that you are capable of anything. Congratulations once again.
Graduating seniors, students, and faculty. It is a sincere pleasure to be here with you today as the chair of the AUW Board of Trustees. I would like to offer my warmest congratulations to the graduating class. Today is a very special day in Bangladesh's history. Today is our Victory Day. 49 years ago, on this day, our 9 months long war of independence ended with the surrender of the Pakistani occupation army. Today, with deep gratitude, I recall our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who led us to our independence, whose birth centenary we are celebrating this year. I also recall and pay homage to 3 million martyrs and hundreds of thousands of women who were raped by the occupation forces and their local collaborators during those 9 months. Bengali nation had to pay a heavy price in order to achieve its independence, ending decades of discrimination, oppression, and injustice. Dear graduates, the class of 2020 is a particularly diverse and resilient group with some 12 different countries represented here today. For many of you, where you sit now celebrating the end of a courageous and impactful educational journey, is perhaps where this journey first began. As you applied to AUW from your home country some 5 years ago, perhaps you thought of the opportunities that would emerge in this new city called Chittagong. Perhaps you imagined the lifelong friends you would make and the professors who would encourage your ideas and passions. In your application, you were asked to describe your courage, empathy, and sense of outrage at injustice, those special characteristics that signaled your potential for leadership. 5 years later, you sit again in your own home due to these most unexpected circumstances, but the view is different. You are now part of an international community of strong, emboldened women who will be the drivers of progress in the region. You have a network of professors who opened your mind to the ideas of the world. You have shown your courage on countless occasions as you expressed your opinions, debated ideas, and challenged traditional notions of what is expected of young women. You have put your empathy into practice as you studied and lived together with students from 18 countries, celebrated festivals and sacred occasions of virtually every creed, and learned the dances, music, language, and customs of your classmates from home and faraway places. And you have proved your outrage at injustice, marching through the streets of Chittagong in the name of women's equality, standing up for the dignity of your Rohingya peers amidst one of the most devastating refugee crises in history, and bringing light to hidden prejudices in your academic research. Of all of this, I am extremely proud. Indeed, you have shown that there is no room for intolerance within the fight for women's empowerment and equity. The year that you applied to AUW was the debut of our Pathways for Promise program. This pre-university preparatory program was an educational experiment based in the belief that talent exists even where opportunity does not. Many of you applied to AUW through this revolutionary program, shattering expectations within your families and communities. You have exemplified that one's circumstances must not dictate her potential, and that talent truly is present in all communities, regardless of the labels society has pressed upon them. And as AUW graduates, you have a particular mandate to continue to be beacons of equality, of human rights, and of tolerance. Much was unknown when you applied to AUW, just as much is unknown in the context of a global pandemic. Still, you approached your education with a deep optimism, determination, and bravery that has allowed each and every one of you to emerge a leader in your own way. As you consider your next steps, I encourage you to harness that same energy. Even in these uncertain times, I hope you will maintain a sense of hope for the future and recognize your unique position to affect and realize positive changes. Graduates, I want to congratulate you again on your hard work and tremendous efforts. I wish you all the best in the years ahead. Congratulations. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu.
Welcome to our virtual graduation ceremony to mark the achievements of our class of 2020 graduated cohort. It's my great pleasure to welcome friends, families, and you, our graduates. This has been a year unlike any other, a year of struggle to contain a global pandemic while continuing with our teaching and administration under new and challenging circumstances. I'd just like to take a moment to first of all thank the entire university community for rising to the challenges that this pandemic has placed upon us all, especially to our support staff for keeping our buildings safe and clean and for their unflinching support that underlies all aspects of the study we engage in and the learning we share. I'd like to recognize the enormous effort that my colleagues have made to adapt to new ways of working when COVID hit us, and the speed with which they successfully adapted to the new circumstances. The global crisis has caused universities and institutions all over the world to operate differently. I'm sure that each of us can individually think of things we've had to learn over the past 9 months that we would not otherwise have learned. Meet, Teams, Zoom have acquired entirely new meanings for us all. COVID has forced all of us to reimagine how we deliver an engaging and holistic learning experience, how to break out of old habits and create new, impactful, relevant modes of learning that take advantage of technology. The challenge now is to use what we've learned about our capacity to change, how we reshape ourselves for the future with a much clearer and sharper understanding of what's needed to move forward. Graduates, you've gone from being part of a lively and energetic community in our Chittagong campus to learning and studying and completing your degree remotely. I know that the last few months will have been very rough for so many of you in so many different ways. But under enormous pressure, you have adapted, you've delivered, you've excelled. The fact that you've completed your studies in the most difficult of circumstances makes your achievements all the more impressive. You've shown resilience, persistence, and dedication. You've demonstrated true grit, any of those synonyms. And you should be rightly very proud of that. We are immensely proud of you. This is an extraordinary university. Getting an AUW degree is quite a remarkable thing, and we are proud to be different. Our courses are academically rigorous, and they're designed to stretch and challenge students at all levels, producing critically and socially engaged graduates capable of fulfilling their career potential. One of the things this university is spectacularly good at is demonstrating resilience and showing you how to embrace it. If there's ever a time when that's going to be useful, this is it. Whatever comes your way, hold very tightly to the strength you'll have derived from AUW. The skills and knowledge that you've acquired whilst at the university are needed now, more than ever, to help reshape the future for us all. Your university will support you now and into the future in all your endeavors. In different circumstances, we would be gathering with your classmates, with your families, and your loved ones to celebrate and honor your achievements and accomplishments. But in these extraordinary circumstances, it isn't quite the same. It's not the same as being part of the wonderful ceremony we hold every year. But we hope to be able to see as many of you as we can at the next commencement, when the university will be restored to its vibrancy and you can be part of the celebrations. While you may be missing the formal graduation ceremony this year, I do hope you'll retain the friends, the experiences, and the knowledge you've gained during your studies. They'll all be part of your foundation for the future. So until we can meet and celebrate properly in person, very many congratulations, and I wish you every success as you embark on the next stage of your lives. Thank you.
Every year since 2013, the month of May would see yet another group of graduates from the Asian University for Women celebrate their arrival at this wonderful juncture in their lives we call commencement. Over the years, I've watched faces of graduates light up with joy as they would step up to the stage and receive their diplomas. Family and friends would cheer them on thunderously as they would embark onto the real world. In autumn, we would welcome yet another new class of AUW. It seemed that the rites of passage of graduation and new entry were as inexorable as the seasons of the year. All that changed this year. Instead of the certainty of the familiar, the world faced a pandemic, the likes of which it hadn't seen in over a century. In our small world of AUW, instead of gathering all together in caps and gowns, instead of marching through the melodies of Tagore's Anandaloke, instead of hugs and tears of joy, instead of all that, we commemorate this singular moment in the lives of our class of 2020, 6 months late and through the ethereal tunnels of Zoom in a world that is still terrified of what has happened to it and unsure of what still awaits. The AUW community has been fortunate that while COVID-19 has soared all around us, it stopped at the gates of 20 Ali Road in Chittagong. I say fortunate with a twist of irony, as I'm reminded of how someone had described the meaning of being lucky. You're lucky, he said, when in a war deep in a trench together, it's your friend who gets hit by a bullet and not you. It's your friend who gets hit by COVID and falls, and you think you are the lucky one. It is a sentiment that is diametrically opposed to the values of the AUW community. Every life is precious. Even one avoidable loss of life degrades us all. Yet in the midst of the global crisis, it is that self-centeredness, it is that obsession with just ourselves, it is that denial of the other, it is that view of luck that says if we are saved, then behold all the woe unto the unlucky ones that seems to be asserting itself. When we first thought of AUW now more than 20 years ago, we thought of it in part as an instrument for overcoming inequality in knowledge, not just between men and women, but also between rich nations and poor nations. A world where only one part of it has a monopoly or near monopoly on knowledge, we thought could never emerge as stable or peaceful and must remain in some ways close to danger. In the years preceding the launch of AUW IDEA, we watched the debates on the ethics of cloning that followed the arrival of Dolly in 1996 at the Scottish Research Lab. Dolly was the first sheep and mammal to be cloned from a somatic cell. There was an almost complete absence of any meaningful voices from the Global South in those debates. But then, how could one join these debates without fully comprehending the science and technology of cloning? The pervasive inequality in knowledge not only threatened the prospect of equitable progress, but also defined whose values would come to bear in shaping an irretrievable future of all humankind, and whose voices will never be heard or known. I say all this in part to give you, the graduates of class of 2020, a Surgeon General's warning on the perils and promises of the real world you're about to enter. Two of the most successful vaccines in the world today are unlikely to be widely available in those parts of the world where our students come from. They are prohibitively expensive, and poor countries are likely to be the last ones in the queue to get them, even if they could pay for them. There is also the other reality that to remain effective, these vaccines require an extraordinary cold chain that can preserve the vaccines at or near negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I fear that the creation of an adequate storage and transportation system to handle such vaccines may not be all that feasible for vast segments of the world. Now consider for a moment, if you would, our AUW graduates from Bangladesh or Afghanistan or Cambodia. If they were the ones developing these vaccines, would they not have considered an alternative that would be accessible in their own communities? Would you not have pursued a vaccine that remained stable in the tropical climates of your lands? Would you not have worked day and night for a vaccine that all in your community could reasonably afford? Would you not have struggled with the ethical dilemmas of a vaccine that may never reach most of the world? I know you would have done all that and more. Today is Bangladesh's 49th anniversary of independence. We celebrate this joyous occasion and solemnly remember all the sacrifices that have gone into attaining our freedom and liberty. Yet, if I may dare say, that no country's independence can hope to fulfill the true demands of its sovereignty until these vexing questions are addressed. So as the first AUW graduates to get your diplomas in winter, I hope you will remember this season not only as the one that robbed you of a proper graduation ceremony that you so richly deserved, but also as a time when you came to know more fully the responsibilities and hopes of creating a world where every life is priceless, irrespective of whether they happen to be lucky or not. Congratulations, class of 2020. May all your hopes and dreams and prayers come true in the years ahead. Thank you.
I would like to introduce our commencement speaker, Henrietta Fore. As mentioned in the beginning, she is UNICEF's 7th Executive Director. Over a leadership career that spans more than 4 decades, she has worked to champion economic development, education, health, humanitarian assistance, and disaster relief in the public service, the private sector, and in non-profits. Prior to UNICEF, she was chairman of the board and chief executive officer of Holzman International, a manufacturing and investment company. She also served on the boards of a number of domestic and international public corporations, including as global co-chair of the Asia Society, chair of the Middle East Investment Initiative, and co-chair of Women Corporate Directors. She also served on the boards of the Centre for Strategic and International Studies, the Aspen Institute, the Committee Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy, and the Centre for Global Development. She has been the administrator of the US Agency for International Development, USAID, Director of United States Foreign Assistance, and Undersecretary of State for Management, the Chief Operating Officer for the US Department of State. Henrietta went to a women's college herself. Her association with AUW goes back many years, when as co-chair of the Asia Society's board, she facilitated an AUW event at the Asia Society, featuring the now former First Lady of Japan, Mrs. Aki Abe. We are honoured to have you here with us today, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Students, faculty members, and distinguished guests, on behalf of UNICEF, it is wonderful to join you on this truly memorable occasion. As the brilliant young graduates of the Asian University for Women, you've been equipped with the knowledge and the skills you need to make your mark on your communities, on your futures, and on your world, because the world needs you now more than ever. After a difficult and turbulent year, we look to you, young people, especially women and girls, to help us reimagine a better, fairer world for all. As graduates of AUW, you understand this need better than most. You may have come from Syria or Yemen, as a refugee from Afghanistan or Myanmar. Maybe you're from a remote corner of India or Timor-Leste. No matter your background, AUW has welcomed you all and challenged you all to be the best that you can be. This year's commencement is special because it features the first graduates enrolled from Bangladesh's garment factories in a remarkable public-private partnership. I would particularly like to thank the factory owners here today for making this possible by continuing to pay the wages of these graduates throughout their studies, and also the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers Association for lending support to this program. UNICEF is deeply proud of our partnership with AUW, including the young graduates who came to work with us as interns. They benefited from the work experience they gained, and UNICEF benefited from their unique points of view and innovative new ideas. And we look forward to doing even more together in the years to come. But today is about the graduates, a group of young women who are ready to write the next chapters in their lives. So congratulations to all the young students graduating today. May your journey be prosperous. May you never stop learning. May you never stop dreaming. And may you be emboldened to make the changes you wish to see in your communities and in your world. Congratulations.
Class of 2020, I don't want to begin with COVID. I want to begin with courage. I don't want to tell you that there are difficulties and challenges in life. That's a given. And each one of you graduating today know that. Everyone lives, breathes, and balances with angst of what can go wrong tomorrow. Many mornings we wake up with uncertainty, not knowing if life will offer us passing grades. At the end of the day, most of us end up having the feeling of just having crossed another day in our calendar. That doesn't take planning. Just getting by never needed a plan. You only need a plan when you want to live. When you close your eyes and dream, that's when you live. when you have nightmares and you wake up with a jolt, that's also when you live. Irrespective of whether you're having a dream or a nightmare, if you use the incredible tool called courage, you live. And if there's one thing that will set this class of 2020 apart, it's going to be that magic word, courage. And you know why? Let me share the story. So 5 years ago, the founder of AUW, Kamal, who's a childhood friend of mine, came to me and asked me if we could think of something for our workers. In about a few minutes, we were brainstorming about how to offer higher education to our workers. In about 3 months from then, there was a full-on team from AUW assessing our workers in a handful of factories while our workers sat with courage for their exams. And only a few passed and were set to go to Chattogram, then known as Chittagong. Today, they sit amongst you all, connected virtually through their own devices, just like the rest of us. I congratulate the AUW Vice Chancellor and the faculty who made sure that our garment workers could cope with the requirement of the 2-year-long access course before university and catch up with the rest of the class. Class of 2020, you are grand by your own merit. True, we are all a tiny blip in the universe, and yes, Earth is just a pale blue dot as captured by Voyager 1 in 1990, and yes, we live in this tiny dot, in quoting Carl Sagan, this mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. But it's after all still a sunbeam. Being dots doesn't make us inconsequential. Being particles does not deflate us. You are grand. So be prepared, brace yourselves for all the turbulences that may rock your coffee cup when you are expecting a smooth flight. Brace yourselves with grace and use the simple mantra of courage. As a young girl who listened to her dad regularly telling her that the proof of the pie was in its pudding, as a young girl who got encouraged by her mother to read and read constantly, as a young girl who got chaperoned by her mother in a rickshaw almost anywhere and everywhere she went, as a young girl who had dreams of becoming only a journalist, I stand before you all today having embraced life as it offered itself. I stand before you all telling you all that it's okay to change courses. It's okay to manage expectations. It's okay to make the most of what you have and just be the best at what you do. It's not your major or minor that will get you to success to knock on your door. It's your passion to ace that will lead you to the next step in your life. And what's the next step? Can you spot the next floor? Can you steady your feet on the next landing? You'll perhaps say yes to 2 and perhaps no to the last one. In reality, it's a big unknown unless you author your own next, and you can. So set the highest bar for yourself and play the most challenging game against the regular. That will set you apart from the others. None of you fall into any single label or category. Each one of you represent a different background coming from different countries in Asia, and the degree of inclusiveness makes you special, as this international university is the most diverse and inclusive. It embraces the privileged and the underserved. It caters to needs beyond the call of duty. It has a faculty that delivers hope and has also groomed you all to be the best that you can be. So in the corporate world, for those of us who often find it difficult to measure eligibility versus employability, Class of 2020 will surely prove us wrong. While you graduate today, you become a special part of our ready-made garment industry history, as we remain ever grateful to you all for being a friend to our Shati, Shahnaz, Sadeka, Yasmin, and the rest. This class will be so special. Please remember, we are the ones who submit to irrelevance and shrink with indifference. So pay attention to this minute. When your heart yearns for excellence, don't let go of that feeling. And last but not the least, let's also pay attention to these special times. And yes, business is bad, profits have sunk, uncertainty has set in, but the ability to sense potential during turbulence is by itself a great strength. In our ready-made garment industry, we took a huge step when we opened our factories in phases. When COVID had first hit us, and not knowing how to steer the next moment, the next turn, that quite didn't deter us from being on course, and we sailed through the whole pandemic with caution, criticism, monitoring, reminders, and faith. We just couldn't have given up on the people who work with us in our industry. We couldn't let our businesses be hit by just cowardice. Everyone involved, starting from the workers to the owners, had to have courage. You too will have to hold on to the magic bullet of courage. That's the one C you cannot give up on in your lives. I'm a grandmother of 2 and a mother to 4. Even at 56 and a half, I reminisce my sessions with my mother, who confessed that I was more of a friend than a daughter. So keep those who have supported and mentored you close to your heart. You are facing a globe which connects you to the other end of it in nanoseconds. So you're different. You literally travel 10,000 miles through a screen that's probably just good for Microsoft Word document to most of us. Your math and our math are different. We perhaps do not understand most of the language that you young children speak in, but you're still ours. And we cannot and will not give up on you, no matter what you do. So seek comfort in confession and offer empathy to those who need. And like I said before, you're a special class. While I end my speech today, let me share what my youngest daughter told me right before I started to draft my speech. She sternly cautioned me and said, it's easy for me to be an idealist from a position of strength today. And that it's not easy for the young women out there who have to struggle through their daily dose of challenges of being a regular working woman. I usually do not disagree with my mini guru at home, but today I looked at her and I disagreed. And I reminded her that I too have had my share of the same challenges in severest degrees. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy being a working woman over 3 decades. It still isn't easy being a boss lady now. So when I was elected as the president of BGMEA, it became doubly difficult. As a woman, the pressure to prove your worth is a nagging element that will probably also bother you all. And you know what? I have no shame in admitting that there are times when I get stomach cramps, when I sense toxicity. But something within me keeps going. It's courage. Courage has been my constant savior. And as for BGMEA, the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association, let me tell you that there's no overall equality in BGMEA. I am the first female president after 17 male presidents. There will only be true equality once there are 17 more female presidents after me. There cannot be any claim of fairness and equality just because there's been just one female president. There's a long way to go, and I have only paved the way. Little has changed. In fact, you never bump into changes. Changes aren't designed to live in your neighborhood. You design your own changes, and you keep on acing battles. And you never get bored. Our daughters, the class of 2020, I sign off with my deepest love, respect, and admiration. Congratulations.
Dear class of 2020, my dearest adventurines, it's such a humbling feeling to have gotten this opportunity to represent you one more time, especially at this significant point in our lives. What an incredible time it's been for us in this journey. We've made friendships to last a lifetime, we've had memories to cherish forever, and had an experience like no other. And as I sit here today, alone, in my graduation gown and my pajama bottoms, I cannot help but think about all the things that were supposed to be different about today. For one, back in January, when we were discussing the prospective venues for the commencement and debating on where we should do it, did we ever think that we would end up doing this from our homes? And more importantly, could we have ever imagined doing any of this without each other by our sides? But here we are. Look at us now, at the finish line. Things are different this time. We are not able to line up at Radisson Blu to greet Mrs. Sherry Blair, or hound on Dr. Nirmala Rao or Dr. Tiffany Cohn to take photos with us. We can't knock on Professor Moinul's door or Professor Mullah to introduce them to our families. But nevertheless, we're still here. We're here at the finish line. We've crossed the finish line, victorious, scattered all around the world, undefeated and ready to face the world. We are marking a significant milestone in our academic lives, and whether the situation allows it or not, we are celebrating the heck out of this. Because this year has been a year of some terrible losses. Losses that have swept us off of our feet. This year has been a year for some invaluable life lessons and more experience than we could have ever hoped for within a lifetime. This has been a year for grieving and reflection. And I know as I say this, that some of you are grieving the loss of your beloved ones right now. And here at this time, this might seem frivolous to sit together on our phones and celebrate a graduation. But here's the thing, I don't think that this is frivolous. I don't think that this is trivial. See, virtual or not, I think we needed this now more than ever. Because this degree, it isn't just an academic milestone or a certificate that says that we've finished our courses. It's so much more than that. It's hope in the darkest of times. It's a symbol of the resilience that we've shown in the middle of a global pandemic. It's also a symbol of all the life skills that we've picked up in the years leading to that point. It's a reminder for us of the incredible strength that we foster within us every day. A reminder of all the challenges that we've conquered and all the relationships that we have formed on the way. Today gives us an opportunity to show appreciation and leave credit where it has been due. This wasn't an individual win for any of us. For each and every one of our victories, there had been a rally of troops supporting us faultlessly, championing our causes like it's their own, and sustaining our journeys beyond any rationale or conditions. This is in recognition for our parents, our kind, loving, selfless parents, our wonderful professors, our families, our mentors, and our peers. So let's not forget that along this incredible journey we have shared each and every one of our experiences with our support system. We've relied on them to hold us upright. So today is as much ours as it is our families. Today is as much ours as it is our professors. So we sit together today and we honor it. Not the things that we've lost on the way, not the things that got swept away, but the way we've responded to that. We celebrate every little detail in this bizarre history of our lives, bizarre chapter of history. If you've gotten this degree while sitting in a remote area with little connectivity, we celebrate that today. If you've gotten this degree while you were stuck on the international borders, trying to make it back home, we celebrate that today. And if you've done your classes while sharing a room with an annoying little sibling, we celebrate that today. And if you've made it till the end of this incredible journey while grieving and panicking for your loved ones constantly, we celebrate today that we've made it. Our university, Asian University for Women, has equipped us to do that, to march on, and so much more. We've learned tenacity in the most unique of platforms. A platform that brought us to the most special group of friends, professors, and staff within whom we've made lifelong friends. A platform that fosters solidarity, sisterhood, and learning within the most tenacious and spirited of people, each person who's more forceful than the next. This is a platform that redefined the meaning of community for each and every one of us. So we bear this flag, we carry this flag of solidarity and community, and take it with us wherever we go next. We wear this badge of honor with pride, and we know full well that no matter where we go next, we remain an integral part of this community. This world is plagued with horrors, and we now know that we can face the worst it throws our way. We have it within us. We're the Aventurines. We're AUW. We're the reason Dean Qasim's hair grayed more with each week. So you tell me if there's anything that we can't do. So today, at the culmination point of this journey, we celebrate. We'll hopefully come together for a physical commencement later on, but till then, let's stay home and celebrate that while the rest of the world faltered, we've marched on. And we'll march on till the end of this adventure, not aiming to put the pieces back together, but to break this whole thing apart and build and innovate a new world. One with more hope, with more love and more kindness. So, my beloved Aventurines, congratulations to you, and congratulations to me. We're here and we've made it. My heart is so full right now. The world is ours. Let's show them what we got.
Could we ever imagine that a garment worker could be a graduate from one of the most prestigious universities in Bangladesh? Today, this is not a dream. This is reality. Thanks to entrepreneurs and Asian University for Women's Pathways for Promise program, Shathi, Shehnaz, Sadika, and Yasmin are former factory workers who are graduating tonight, moving on to greater horizons. The ready-made garment sector's unwavering support of these women and their dreams stand testament to what's possible when we come together. But their journey was not easy.
I was an honor student in management at a college in Chittagong. My father lost one of his legs due to illness. It's because of diabetics. And then I started contributing for my own education and also for my sister's education.
My relatives were forcing my parents to marry me off, since they were thinking I am an extra burden to their families.
They were focused in their work, yet they never gave up on their dreams and kept on searching for a way to resume their education. That is when new hope arrived in the form of AUW and Pathways for Promise, the chance they had all been waiting for.
A key goal of AUW is to empower women from any background and any field through education, to give them the tools they need to succeed.
Entrepreneurs and AUW nurtured their potential and gave them the chance they were waiting for to make a better future for themselves.
Right now, I got an opportunity to join in IPDC as a junior relationship manager.
After graduation, I am currently working in Mohammadi Group in compliance department as a welfare officer. Now I am looking for jobs, and I have planned to work in an international NGO.
I want to go for masters. Currently, I am applying for Cambridge University, so inshallah I will get there.
They are paving the way for countless other women, proving that nothing is impossible. Only together we can become better. Only together our workers can reach their full potential. Only together we can go human, go green.
Good afternoon, honorable guest, our parents and family, friends, board of trustees, professors, staff, and our distinguished class of 2020, the Aventurians. Congratulations and welcome to the commencement ceremony. Today is the day that we have all dreamed about. While we may not have ever imagined a virtual commencement, we know that the world we are living in is plagued with dangers, in particular the global pandemic of COVID-19. So a virtual commencement is the only option right now. Regardless this pandemic, we still managed to graduate. Congratulations, we made it. I never thought I would ever graduate, let alone be up here giving a speech. But dreams come true. And I can tell you all that things will get better. I grew up in a village, in a rural part of Bangladesh, as a member of a low-income community where early marriage is a norm. Their girls are treated as an extra burden to their families, and they could rarely complete their high school studies. The situation was the same for me. When I was in 12th grade, my relatives tried to force my parents to marry me off. But I was a girl with a dream to be empowered and to become an independent woman. Therefore, I left home to Dhaka and started working in a garments factory in order to become independent and not be a burden on my family. I worked at Ananta Groups Limited in Dhaka. However, my experience of working in a factory was very challenging, as I felt like I was far away from my dream to complete my higher education. There I was fighting only to survive, to meet the basic needs of myself and my family. I was eagerly waiting and praying for a magical lamp to overcome that situation in my life. Then I heard about a possible scholarship opportunity at the Asian University for Women and their collaboration with BGME. I gave the exam and interview, and my result was good. That was the magical chance that changed my life. At AUW, I was involved in many extracurricular and leadership activities, which helped me become more confident while also remaining respectful of others. AUW taught me to think about the issues happening around the world and to bring about positive change. I was also inspired to co-found an organization named Dreams for the Street Children Foundation. In this foundation, I'm working to ensure access to education for street children, as I believe without education, we cannot bring about a positive change in our community. Today, I feel very lucky that the power of an AUW education helped me to think big, to broaden my perspective, and to bring about some positive impacts in my community. Currently, I'm working as an intern at one of the UN agencies in Cox's Bazar. After this internship, I'm looking forward to study my master's in development studies in the UK, inshallah, to serve the people of my nation and to bring about a positive change in my community. I owe a big thanks to the entire AUW community. I want to especially mention the Pathways for Promise program and my wonderful professors, especially Professor Salim, Professor Moinul, Professor Mehrun, Professor Noornobi, and Professor Shuparna, who helped me through everything. I wouldn't have been able to graduate magna cum laude with a major in economics and minor in development studies without their support. I also want to give significant thanks to the founder of the Asian University for Women, Mr. Kamal Ahmed, and the president of BGME, Dr. Rubana Haq, for providing us this life-changing opportunity to change our lives, our community, and in turn, the world. Finally, I would like to thank my batchmates, the Aventurians, for making our life amazing at AUW. We Aventurians have spent our last 4 years together through thick and thin. We made each day worthwhile through our shared memories, from Access Academy through to the time we graduated. Every single one of us worked so hard to get here. Congratulations, graduate, and good luck. I look forward to hearing about all of your successes in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this virtual celebration. We do hope you enjoyed it. On behalf of the AUW community, we wish everyone here a safe holiday season with your loved ones and hope to welcome in a brighter 2021.